So, like I said, this is our third episode of Movies and Minutes. I'm happy to have you back on. Um, I always like talking to you just in general. You're a great person to have a conversation with. So it it helps me to have people like that when I'm going to have them on to talk about movies too.
I
So,
appreciate it.
hmm um, so last year when I had you on, the first thing I kind of asked people was what kind of movies that they were into.
Mhm.
So in season two, I'm kind of doing more of a check-in. Has there been anything that you've seen maybe since last year that you really enjoyed, or even if you didn't really enjoy it, maybe there's stuff you've seen that was absolute dog doo-doo. Any standouts from 23 to now?
It's almost a cliche thing to say, but it's totally earned all of its accolades. Godzilla minus one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I went in with
Hmm.
pretty high expectations, and they were exceeded.
Good.
Um, that was the first Godzilla movie, and I've seen them all.
Hmm.
That was the first Godzilla movie where I really actually cared about the human characters. Usually, the human characters are just sort of the budget saving, fill time to get to the monster fights.
Yeah,
Um,
they're kind of like set pieces that whatever happens to them happens, and you don't really care. I get that.
yeah,
So
that
that
was
one,
good.
yes, yeah, that was a good standout. I just Saturday night, I had already seen that movie back in November, but this past week they put it back in the theater, and I believe it's still doing it, where they took away the color.
Yeah,
So I saw it, it was called minus one minus color on Saturday night, and if you can believe it, it's even better than the original version because it's that like that time period, when most of the Godzilla films came out and were set, really needs that black and white, and it
Mhm.
helps.
Well, from what I understand, it's not even the color; like the
Mhm.
film quality is somewhat adjusted, so it sort of matches up to the original Gojira.
Very much so. It definitely has an original Toho feel to it.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to catch that. Probably not in the theater, but I'm hoping the home video release has both versions. So
I'm crossing my fingers that that's the case as well. But at the same time, I was just like, what if they screw us and then like don't do it? So that's why I ran and saw it. So that's fair. All right, that's a good one. I mean, it's funny because we've got another Godzilla movie coming out, in about a month or so.
very different Godzilla movie.
Very different. And the truth is, I don't, you know, with what I know about it and what, the stuff that it's a sequel of, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as good.
Well, you know why those movies? There was the original relaunch of Godzilla in
Hmm.
2014, was it?
Hmm.
2015, maybe. That movie did okay, and then you had Godzilla King of the Monsters. That movie
Hmm.
actually underperformed.
Hmm.
And what saved that movie, the reason that we got Godzilla versus Kong, was that
Hmm.
even though King of the Monsters underperformed, the toys sold like crazy.
Hmm.
So the toy sales, the merchandising was such that it warranted, let's do more, let's bring it. So I this one, it looks fun and I'm gonna go see it, but this looks all about toy sales. This looks very toyetic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, they're not owned by Hasbro, but I wouldn't be shocked if Hasbro like had stock in the movie. But um, all right, that's fair. I mean, that's sort of a good segue too. For our first movie in that they both, I mean, like one more than the other, but they both have sort of a sci-fi leaning.
Mhm.
Um, the first one I believe I sent you was ISS, which is short for the International Space Station. What kind of feel did you get for that based on what you saw? And I get you did say that you hadn't heard of any of them, so this is purely from the trailers.
Yeah, and I just watched them about an hour ago. So
Refresh your brain.
ISS felt like an episode of Black Mirror that they put on.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that Hollywood is hard up this year with the strikes and everything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling they're releasing stuff in theaters that might have been
Like,
otherwise shuffled straight to cable or streaming. And
mm-hmm.
this looks like a Night Shyamalan kind of perhaps twist ending sort of thing where it's what's happening is not what you're supposed to think is happening from the trailer. I'm just riffing here. I could be completely wrong. But it just looks too contrived of a plot to actually be what it appears to be, in my opinion. But could be wrong.
So, I mean, just imagining I'm an idiot for a second though. Just straight plot. What did it give you? Like, what did you think? If
Well,
you,
it's
yeah.
supposed to look like a group of American astronauts and a group of Soviet
Mhm,
astronauts are on the International Space Station, and the global thermonuclear war breaks
mhm,
out on Earth. And for some reason, for reasons,
mhm,
both teams are given instructions to take the station as if
mhm,
it matters at this point. That's why I
mhm,
think it's really a dumb plot point if it's not a contrivance.
mhm,
Sort of. So I think it seems like a sociological experiment that they're playing out. That
mhm,
the war
mhm.
was staged maybe on Earth to see if they can get these people to kill each other. Uh,
I,
maybe
I
maybe I'm giving it too much credit or not enough.
I think what you're really doing is you're describing a better film, one that would work on better levels and would be more interesting. It was really straightforward. It was pretty much what you described, except for there wasn't more behind it. Um, so the Soviets and the U.S. astronauts are on the International Space Station. They get two new members for the U.S. side at the start of the movie, and one of the new characters is sort of our vehicle for the film. We're you know following her perspective, and but yeah, I mean, out the windows they can see like the thermonuclear destruction happening all across the globe, and they're getting like messages secretly coded to be like, hey, take the ship, and then same thing on the Russian side. And it's kind of like the slow burn of like these people that are in a setting that is much less partisan than the real world,
Yeah.
because they're up there as scientists trying to perform experiments, and they don't at first we get a sense for them, and they don't really care about their governments. We're here to do our work. We don't care that you're American, we're Russian, despite what's going on in the real world. And suddenly when the governments send them a message, it kind of feels like they're struggling to decide whether they want to just follow their government loyalty or follow the fact that they're just scientists.
Do they explain why the space station is strategic to the war, that they need to take it? I mean, there's no weapons on it. There's just
They
it's just
they
done for
do
scientific research.
they do. I don't know if I should 100% say, suffice it to say that the some of the experiments and research they're doing may or may not be tied directly to one affected by thermonuclear war.
Okay.
Maybe
So there's a MacGuffin on board that
yeah,
each side
yeah,
wants. Okay.
kind of, yeah. But the real problem is they have the time to flesh it out, to like see if this MacGuffin actually like serves a real purpose. And they kind of went with they kind of went the lost angle. And you see the astronauts that do end up getting out, leaving on the Soyuz, and then it cuts to black. So
So
you don't
it's
know
it's
you don't
we're too
know what.
lazy to write an ending to this thing, so let's just end it.
Yeah, so you don't get to
Great.
find out what's happened on the ground. You don't get to find out, whether or not the thing that they're bringing down is actually helpful. It's very like, okay, is there a post credit scene? Is this a Marvel movie? No. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it probably would have served better as an episode of Black Mirror that you could just stream on Netflix.
very much so. I mean, I think it's a very middle of the road movie. I mean, you get some fun like character development watching these people like struggle, like with their own moral compasses on what they should do, and then the things that they do, because again, they're like scientists, they're not trained killers. And
Right.
if you have to take a ship by any means necessary, you are probably going to have to do some killing.
It seems like there's a good movie in there, and they just really didn't find it.
Exactly, like kind of what I was saying, like you outlined what the good movie would have been versus what we get.
Well,
So
one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes,
mhm.
is the episode where uh, they think nuclear war is coming, and only one neighbor has a fallout
The
shelter.
bunker, yeah,
Yeah,
the
and
bunker,
they
and they're
all
all
tear each
trying to like
other
talk them
apart,
into
and
using
then
it.
then
Yeah,
I was thinking maybe it's something like that where it's just a social experiment, and they want to see, can we get these people
yeah.
to turn on each other.
Rod Rod Sterling definitely is a much better writer than whoever wrote ISS.
And the trailer is so grandiose. It's like from visionary director, guy I never heard of.
Right, right. Which is, yeah, that's the sad part about it. Yeah, really, really the takeaway is like it's to me it was a 3-star movie, and even that I think was I was being kind of generous on, but like it's a whole lot of nothing. It's much ado about nothing.
I will say that of all of the three trailers you sent me,
Yeah.
if I had to watch these movies, that would be the one I'd pick to watch.
It does look the best.
Yeah.
Visually speaking, it looks the best. I'll agree. It also had God, I can't remember his name, but he's been in tons of stuff. One of the main U.S. Astronauts is definitely like a face you'd recognize from like other movies. I wish I could remember his name, but so that was ISS. The second movie does actually have like actors whose names I do remember, such as Kurt Russell, and a Hemsworth that's not Thor.
I mean, Russell Crowe.
Um, Oh, you're right. You're 100% right. I'm sorry. Russell Crowe. Yeah. They both have Russell in their name. That's
Sure,
their
Russell's mixed up.
yeah, yeah.
Russell
No,
Crowe is
actually.
the only actor I knew, and then I saw that there was a Hemsworth, but not the
Yeah.
Hemsworth. So
Yep. Yeah, it's
they
yep,
got a Hemsworth off Wish.
pretty much. That's good. Um yeah. So The
I don't
Land
even
of
remember the
Bad.
name of that film. It's like Badland or something, or
The
Bad
Land of Bad.
Land of
Um,
Bad.
yeah, so I don't know what they were going for with that title.
They're setting themselves up for every critic to make a pun.
Pretty much like this movie is as the bad as The Land of the Bad,
Yeah.
or something like that. What did you take away from that one?
Well, I think Russell Crowe is a talented actor, but he hasn't done anything I've been interested in 10 years. The last movie I really loved him in was The Nice Guys, that one he did with Ryan Gosling. Love that
Yeah.
movie. Nothing he's done
Yeah.
since has really been interesting. But if I had to be kind to this film, the
Mhm.
interesting thing that it looked like it had going for it was the Russell Crowe character was is a drone pilot, and he's sort of helping a military team of some sort, and
Mhm.
he's probably in Las Vegas somewhere in a basement autopiloting this thing, and these guys are out there, taking flack and getting shot up.
Mhm.
Um, so I would hope that maybe it would explore sort of modern warfare versus traditional warfare, and you know the difference between sitting there with a joystick and relative safety and actually being boots on the ground. um, Other than that, it looked very boring to me.
You're man, you're great at these. I gotta have you on more often. So
Well, I am a writer, so I try to
this is why. This is part of the reason why.
go off of.
Um the one thing I'll say is they kind of try to play up the joystick guy a little bit more because they want you to know like when they're in active combat and they're working with a team, they're kind of stuck in the chair, for however many hours until the job is done. So it's like, you're there for 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, however long, while as long as these guys are there, like they keep you. You don't really switch out because you don't want to like mess up the integrity of the mission
Yeah,
by like trying to hand off information to somebody else who hasn't been sitting there the whole time. Or like the stuff that could happen in a split second when you're piloting a drone with real people nearby. There was another famous face in this who I'm not sure if you would know, but you might. Did you ever watch the show Heroes? It was
save
it was on
save
the
the
early like
cheerleader, save the
2000s.
world. That Yeah, I watched the first season, and then
Okay.
I lost
There
interest.
was So there was two brothers, right? One was a politician, and one had basically rogue powers. Like he had like empathic memory, and he could absorb other powers. Um, the actor's name was Milo Ventimiglia.
Oh yes, I know him. I know him. Yeah,
So he was also in this movie.
he was in Rocky Balboa, I believe. like
Yes. Yep.
Rocky's
Yep.
son.
He played Rocky's son. Yeah.
Yeah, decent actor.
He is. Yep. So he's in this. We get a fairly green Hemsworth who, if he's been in other stuff, I couldn't tell you what.
Yeah.
Uh, but the idea is that there's a, for lack of a better term, a secure asset that needs to be extracted. And so they send in a team with Milo and Hemsworth and they're whatever, they're half a dozen guys. And as is often the case when they hit the ground, they also become in need of rescue. So they have to track down the thing that they're there to save, and also themselves need to be saved. And it's just pretty basic. I mean, like, these guys get captured, they have to break free. Um, I don't know if they just don't want to upset like viewership around the world by specifying, but they wouldn't tell us where this was. Suffice it
Sure.
to say that it was somewhere that both Asian people and Middle Eastern terrorists would reside simultaneously.
So like Top Gun Maverick, they never tell you the enemy.
The country. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they're terrorists of some kind. But if they specify who they are, then you piss off people because you
Right.
name names.
Understandable.
Um, yeah. Um, and I mean, you're really not wrong. It was very like very generic, very like
Yeah,
kind of by the numbers. I mean, the action was the references.
it looked like one of those 90s direct to video films that had like a famous actor on the box so that dads would accidentally rent it thinking it was a good movie, but then you get a bait and switch and it's a Hemsworth that you never heard
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what happens in this. There's one scene that I have to say that like made me really like Russell Crowe
Yeah.
in this film. I mean, like he was kind of like you find out that he's the guy in the chair because he's been demoted like for speaking up like in years past. So like he gets like the shit jobs.
Yeah.
And at one point in the movie, he does something. Um, the guys that are captured try to call home. They get their hands on a sat phone. They try to call home, and all the guys at the Air Force Base are sitting and watching a college basketball game and ignore the phone.
Typical.
And then he calls Russell Crowe, and Russell Crowe's at the grocery store. He picks up, he bolts back to the station before like a missile's gonna like blow up everything like where they are, and he like gets them to call it off with like 2 seconds to spare. And this is a spoiler, but it's not really. He goes into the room where all the guys are watching the game. He takes a golf club and he smashes the TV.
Nice.
And he gives his superior officers and everybody else like shit, and they're trying to like yell at him. He's like, "You almost just got people killed."
And
And I was
that's how
just
he
like,
got
"Yeah,
demoted. That was his backstory.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
basically." But
Nice.
like him like standing up again, like despite the fact that he'll probably get in trouble again, that was good. That was like a peak moment for him in that film.
Yeah, he's a
So
fantastic actor. He hasn't
yeah,
really done interesting material in my opinion.
it's
Um,
been a while. It's been a while. I mean, like I thought he was a weird choice for Zeus too.
never
Of all the
never
people they could
saw
have picked.
that.
What?
Never saw that movie.
You no, you didn't see Thor 4?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he was Zeus. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's like winding down and we just have to look back at his past career and remember the good times. But
Yeah,
that was the land of bad. I gave that one two. That was 2 out of 5
two out of
versus the
five.
last one, 2 out of 5.
That's bad because
I
you're very generous. You're very generous usually. You try to look for the good in
I
everything.
yeah,
So
so when I can't find it, there's a problem.
2 stars from you is it's a poor
A
review.
death a death knell. Ooh. So the last movie, which you said to me prior to us starting this was looked uncomfortable, and I, I can understand that both not as a college professor, but even more so as a college professor.
Yeah.
Given this film, uh, this last one was Miller's Girl. And we had the main two characters. were played by Martin Freeman of. I mean, he's
Sherlock.
done a couple Marvel movies in the last couple of years. He's done lots of other stuff.
Yeah.
And then we got Jenna Ortega, who's just, she's Wednesday. She's I think she's going to be in the new Beetlejuice. She's kind of just, the that young it girl right now in some stuff. Um, so I'm gonna be honest. When I read the details for this movie, I hadn't seen the trailer yet, but the the movie was really trying hard to sell me on the fact that there was something going on between a teacher and a student, and that it wasn't something like naughty. You know, it I don't know if it was like blackmail or murder or something else, but they like the description made it seem like that was not the case. And then when I sat down and I watched the film, and I was just like, this is 100% the opposite of where they were pushing me.
Yeah.
And yeah, what
Almost as
a
if they were ashamed of themselves for even making this movie. I mean, we're trying to make it something it wasn't.
kind of um what a what did you take away from this one? And I mean, I'll ask it. What do you think about it was uncomfortable? I mean, I have my own reasons why, but
So I just, first off, this seems like a vehicle that sadly a lot of young actresses feel they have to take on to show that they're adults now. Um,
hmm
Elizabeth Berkley with Showgirls,
mm.
um, whatever her name, Zendaya with whatever that Euphoria show.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
See, it seems like this is a rite of passage, and it's unfortunate. But Jenna Ortega, I only know
Mm.
her from Wednesday, but I do know that she was in some Scream movies,
He was
and
in the last two. Yep. So 5 and 6.
now she is in Beetlejuice 2. So
Mhm.
it seems like she's really getting typecast as some creepy goth kid. And if
Yeah.
I was her agent, I'd be encouraging her to take more diverse roles. Maybe don't play this type of character in every film. So she comes with baggage for me. She's like a kind of a strange, creepy sort of goth kid uh,
Mhm.
when I see her. And so this trailer just sort of struck me as just being kind of a creepy film. And the subject matter is uncomfortable. And I'm glad they went out of their way in the trailer to say that she's 18, as if
Yeah.
that makes it a little better. But so it seems
It
to me,
doesn't though.
because they did that, it seems
Yeah.
to me that it's one of those movies that tries to do something edgy, but also wants to play it safe. So it's not going to go all the way with what it's trying to do because it's afraid to do it. So you wind up
Mhm.
with some half-ass sort of nothing burger of a film that might as well not have even existed.
I love that word, nothing burger. Um, so the premise of this movie is that Jenna Ortega's character is starting a writing class, and actually it makes it look like it's college, but it actually is still high school. So they're
It
all
is.
like seniors.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
They are high school. They're like seniors, but it's like college level material. So, um, and I I believe she becomes enamored of her teacher. It's not reciprocated for several reasons. I think the largest one, which I don't know if it comes across in the trailer, but it definitely took me a little bit to sit there and kind of like absorb it. It's a lot of it's in her head, for lack of a better term. Like she is fantasizing, romanticizing things, and they're not really happening. So the other parties involved, you know, they're not interacting in the way that things are sort of implied. It's like he's teaching her stuff, and he's just, you know, thinks nothing of anything because he's just teaching, and
He's
she's
misreading.
sort of like, huh?
He's misreading him or something, or she's
I
just really out there.
could be a little bit of that. A little bit is just she's an 18-year-old girl, and maybe there's just, 18-year-old girl like just, finding kind of love for the first time. And at one point she does she writes an assignment which kind of makes it clear what she's thinking, what she's feeling. So it it's no longer a mystery to him. Now he's sort of in on it. Like, oh crap, this is what she's this explicit thing that she wrote and handed in is what her thoughts and feelings. And he he does the right thing. He tells everybody, and he kind of tries to shut it down. And you're sort of right. Like it doesn't go all the way, and in a way that's good because I think that would be cliche if he did something with the student and then we've got the like the fallout of that, and it doesn't it's more contemporary in that it's almost like a he said she said, and you have to sort of being the viewer you get to see both sides, and you're like, if I wasn't watching this from an omnipotent position, how would I see things, like the administrators at the school or her friends or things like that. So it's real.
Is there an objective truth to the film, or does it leave things ambiguous?
I mean, you know the facts. Like, that, like, at a certain point she kind of tries to cry wolf. She tries to get him in trouble when she never says it, but you as the viewer kind of understand that she feels spurned.
Mhm.
I think because obviously he says, he doesn't do anything with her. He has a wife. He doesn't, he tells her she has to rewrite the assignment, and that's sort of his way of saying, I
Right.
don't agree with this, and you need to, and this is inappropriate. Do something else. So at that point, she hands it in to like the administration, and then kind of tries to report him.
So the
So
fiction story that she wrote, she's trying to say that it was real.
based on things that happened between them. So you understand, having watched the film, that what is real and what isn't. And they sort of get to a point where things might come to a head in another movie, not like a sequel, but in another movie of the same kind. You'd see them in front of a school board or a courtroom or something, and there would be some kind of resolution. And you're right that it ends ambiguously because you sort of see them going to a place where that would happen, and then the film ends.
So it's like ISS, the screen goes black.
It does.
You can't write endings anymore.
I don't know. Yeah, that's like the theme of this week, right? Like endings are too hard.
Was the acting good? Because that girl's a good actress, I think, and
The
Martin
acting was
Freeman's good.
the acting was great between the two of them. There's also you get a fair amount of stuff with Martin Freeman's wife, who I don't recognize her from anything. I think I looked her up, and she hasn't like acted in anything in like 2 decades. But like, she was a good
Making a
actress.
comeback.
Huh?
Making a comeback.
Maybe, possibly. What's weird though is the start of the movie definitely gave me like CW Riverdale vibes, and then
Yeah,
like, and then it stopped being like cable TV when people swore and there was like real situations.
I didn't know if I
So,
was being unfair with that because I liked Wednesday. I'm gonna say I liked, but Wednesday felt like a CW show to me. And then I
except
realized
for
why. I learned after the fact that it was supposed to be. It was pitched to
oh,
CW.
was it?
I believe
Oh,
so. I
okay.
think it was,
I think the same thing happened with Sabrina. Sabrina ended
yeah.
up like being too mature for CW, so they put it on Netflix.
So I was getting CW vibes.
You're not wrong for that. Like, there's definitely like
That's
moments
not a
of
good
like
vibe. That's not a good vibe for a movie.
no, it doesn't stick around for the whole thing, but like when it starts and you're hearing like the I don't know what you want to call it, like the house band for CW, like singing sad songs to like Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm like, oh no. Um, I did like some of the twists and turns and some of the trope breaking though. Like there were definitely like moments where in other films I would have expected it to go somewhere else and then it didn't. So, I mean, I would definitely rate it higher than the other two from today. It's not 5 stars, but still better than definitely better than The Land of Bad or ISS.
So interesting. That's probably the one I would have watched last.
Yeah,
Uh, you're saying it was the best one. So we really can't go from trailers.
we can't. We can't always. I mean, they might be slowly getting better because I feel like maybe when I started the show, they were definitely at a point where trailers were giving too much away. And they might have like reeled that in a little bit and said, okay, maybe we should start like leaving some stuff to the imagination so we can get butts and seats
When you've
again.
got a bad movie and you know it's a bad movie, then the trailer is often vague because they don't want to show you how bad it is, right?
There's that, but there's sometimes like comedies where like they show me all the funny scenes in the trailer, and I'm like, well, then what am I gonna laugh at now that I'm watching the movie?
Have you seen the Ghostbusters trailer that dropped today, Frozen Empire? There's a new.
No, I saw yesterday that there was gonna be a new one, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yep.
Um, and I'm still sad that you guys aren't gonna get to join us for that, but
I know. I really, really would like to be there for that, but
yeah, I'm
plans,
sure it'll
unfortunately.
still be fun though. I've got nothing but high hopes for that movie.
I do too, and especially from this trailer.
Oh,
I'll,
really?
I'll give you a little spoiler, and it's something that
Ooh,
annoyed
a little bit of
me.
role reversal.
The little marshmallow men are back in this trailer, and you're like, Jesus, guy, come on! It's just like, hey, remember? I mean, enough of that shit. Sorry
Yeah,
to show, but enough
no,
of that stuff. It felt forced in the
in the
last one.
last one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, hey,
I mean, it's
remember
not a Disney.
Ghostbusters?
It's not a Disney movie, but Disney movies tend to like lean on that like little cute character that they can merchandise, kind of like we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a ton of merchandise for like the baby Godzilla that's
The
in the
Stay Puft
on Godzilla.
Marshmallow Man was very specific to the setting and plot of the first Ghostbusters in 1984.
Yeah,
Any further films you shove him into just becomes more and more obvious and ludicrous.
it's an intentional callback for us old Ghostbuster fans. Not that we need it. Like
You
having
know,
having the original characters is enough for me.
yeah, Bill Murray, I'm there.
The only other thing that I'm excited for that movie for, which I know it's not good for you, but it's good for nostalgia. Usually every time there's a Ghostbuster movie, they re-release Ecto Cooler.
Oh, okay.
Like, so I'm looking forward to finding some of that. Just even if I buy one package,
I don't think I've ever
just
had it.
it's a type of high C that makes every other high C taste like dog water.
Nice.
Yeah. So guess what? That's it. We're donezo for this one, zo.
Wow.
Is there So you're looking forward to Godzilla. You're looking forward to Ghostbusters.
Yep.
Is there anything else on the docket that you're looking forward to? If not, I mean that's plenty. But
Dune Part Two. Um, I
Mhm.
Denis Villeneuve, or however, I'm sure I butchered that. I think
Mhm.
he's a very good filmmaker, and I
Mhm.
trust him. And I enjoyed Dune Part One.
Mhm.
So I'm
Um,
not sure if I will go see that in a theater. I will probably wait for HBO Max,
the
even
only
though that
thing.
is definitely a film you should probably see in a theater.
So
But
here's my one thing about that, right? So I got the hot tip that they're doing a week early showing for that at IMAX.
oh, nice.
So so if you were to go, that seems like a good time. It's like a fan event. They'll probably have posters and it's the biggest screen you could possibly see it in.
Yeah, I might do that.
March
Yeah,
25th.
March 25th. Wow, that's coming
Mhm.
up. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Mhm.
Ghostbusters. I will see Godzilla,
Mhm.
just because I'm a Godzilla
Yeah, of
fan.
course.
Uh, I
All
got
right.
Godzilla's all over my mouth.
Baby Godzilla.
But what else is even coming
Dead-
out? Uh,
Deadpool.
ah, I like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Mhm.
I'm very happy to see Hugh Jackman come back, but
Mhm.
here's my fear.
Ooh.
Um, it's Disney and they interfere with things, and I don't trust them to put out a good Deadpool movie. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Mhm.
I'm hoping Ryan Reynolds has enough control to keep corporate people at bay.
Mhm.
Um, I'm really hoping it's a good film, and I'm really hoping that the um, rumors of Taylor Swift as Dazzler are true, because I do
Yeah.
like I have a full run of Dazzler comics, and I'm hoping
Mhm.
that they skyrocket in value and I can sell them and make some money.
There you go.
But that I will see it hopefully. But
That'll,
I'm
that'll
leery
be
of,
the second movie rental for the year or
yeah,
theater rental.
leery of Deadpool, but hoping it's
Mhm.
good.
Fair enough.
We don't have any other superhero movies, do we?
We have three Sony Marvel movies if those count. They
Oh,
don't really count to me, but
Madam Web.
Madam Web, Craven, and Venom 3 are all this year.
Venom 3, I will probably see, because even though I don't think they're good films,
Oh,
they have
oh,
they've
Joker
entertained.
2 also. I don't know if that's considered superhero. That's more comic, but
Yeah, Joker 2 interests me. I don't like musicals, but the fact that they're doing a musical with the Joker and it's Lady Gaga,
Gaga.
right?
Yeah, and Joaquin again.
I did not enjoy the first Joker movie. I thought it was a good
Ooh.
film. I thought it was a good film, but it was
Mhm.
very, I don't enjoy nihilism. Um, that film was a very depressing film. I didn't enjoy it. I think
Yeah.
it's a good movie. I think it's a very good movie. I didn't enjoy it. So I'm not sure about Joker 2 either, but I only watched Joker
Mhm.
once. I never wanted to see it again. So
Mhm.
yeah, I get enough depression out
You
there.
have to check it off the list and say you did it. This sure. Well, um, I'm sure I'll see you again in the near future. We'll talk about some of these on the when you've seen them. And thanks for coming back.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been Movies and Minutes, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers.
Take care.